We all know used car prices are increasing right now by crazy amounts. But what about new car prices? Are they rising just as quickly? Well, the answer is yeah, almost certainly. And the reason for that is because weirdly, car makers have started adopting a very similar business model to the likes of Ferrari. It sounds a bit mad, but let me explain.
This is Autotrader UK, where we drive the latest, the greatest, giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So strap in, subscribe, and if you have been watching,
Don't stop. Don't ever stop. Here at Autotrader, we have a ton of data on car prices. We publish a thing called the Retail Price Index, which tracks the changes. And my data buddies in the company found that in August, used car prices went up by 17.2%, the third straight month we've seen record price increases. The reason used car prices are shooting up the way they are right now is that there's a shortage of new cars. Not enough new cars means that used cars are in higher demand and sellers can charge more. Why are there so few new cars? Well, because of the chip shortage. You can click the link in the description down below to learn a bit more about that. Car factories have basically slowed down and even stopped while companies wait for their precious chips. Now, since they're not able to build quite as many new cars, they've started ignoring cheaper models in favor of building cars that make the most money, i.e. the most expensive ones. Essentially, the car companies have been forced to adopt the Ferrari business strategy, sell fewer cars than the market demands. And Ferrari are the absolute experts at this. They've done it for years. The result is that customers will pay top dollar, they'll wait longer, and profit margins shoot up. In case you're interested, Ferrari's profit margin for the first half of this year was 20%. Very healthy. How much money are the car companies actually making then? Well, we don't have any hard data from their showroom floors. Quite often they won't even publish sales figures. But one way of finding out is to look at their financial records. And holy crap, they are raking it in right now. Everything that worked for Ferrari is now also working for Stellantis, Volkswagen Group, Daimler, BMW, Toyota, etc., etc. Usually, car making is a low margin business for everyone except for Ferrari and Porsche, but not for the first half of this year it wasn't. Toyota, for example, they posted their biggest ever operating profit of $9 billion and a profit margin of 12.6%. Stellantis, who haven't got a money-spinning premium brand to speak of, they posted a margin of 11.4%. Daimler, the Mercedes parent company, 5.2 billion euro profit with a margin of 12.2%. BMW, 15.8% margin for the second quarter. That's insane. So basically, in the middle of one of the worst crises for the automotive industry, the chip shortage, that's come straight off the back of an even worse crisis, the pandemic, and a host of other issues, like, for example, the steeply rising cost of raw materials like steel, the car companies are making more money than ever. I mean, it almost couldn't have worked out better if they'd planned it. Conspiracy theorists, settle down. Right, so are they actually raising prices for new cars then? Well, yes and no. Car companies don't actually have to charge more to make more. That's the clever bit. They've actually been extremely reluctant to do so in the past because customers can spot a price increase a mile off, and if your rival has a lower sticker price than you, well, then that counts against you. They'll go elsewhere. What they can do is to reduce the incentive for the dealer to discount. Here's how it normally works. A manufacturer will offer discounts on their cars to a dealership to help them to sell more. But by reducing that, more of the list price comes back to the car company. So on the surface, it looks like prices haven't really changed, even though they make more cash. We can look at America as an example actually. Their pricing data is easier to access, and from what we can see is that in August, discounts fell to $1,830 per car, less than half what they were a year ago. And the average transaction price, the price that customers actually pay with discounting for new cars in the US, rose by a massive $6,000 to a record of $41,525. And this is according to data from LMC Automotive, in case you're interested. However, look at Tesla, one of the few car companies that doesn't discount. It has raised prices. For example, the Model 3 Performance cost £52,000 in 2019, but currently costs $59,990. And there are other ways that car companies can raise prices, for example, killing off cheaper variants. Cast your mind back to 2018 when the cheapest Ford Fiesta was the Style, which cost $13,965. It was basic, it had 15-inch wheels, a 4.2-inch dash. Now, the cheapest Fiesta is the £16,645,000 Trend. Same engine, but now it's got a lot flashier with 16-inch alloys, 8-inch touchscreen, LED headlights. You might get more for your money, but you gotta find that extra cash first. And there's more profit margin in all of those flashy bits. What's quite interesting is that car prices are rising faster than people's salaries. For example, the cheapest version of the VW Polo in 2011 was $9,495, 45% of the average salary. Fast forward 10 years, and the entry-level Polo is now £17,355, 67% of the average salary. And some of the cheapest models have disappeared completely, especially the ones with the smallest profit margins. Ford Ka? Gone. Vauxhall Viva? Dead. Should we blame car manufacturers though? I don't really know if we can. Maybe it's not their fault. Some of them struggle to make a profit. General Motors ran Vauxhall at a loss for years. Guess how much money they made in 2017, the year they sold Vauxhall? None. They lost £2.26 billion. The car industry's hard. I know, world's smallest violin and all that. And especially in Europe, it's a hard place to do business. We generally like small, highly sophisticated cars with soft touch plastics that get more and more complicated every year because of legislation. It's hard to price your cars profitably. New cars also have to pass even tougher crash tests. They've got to come fitted with onboard SIM cards to make emergency calls. And from next year, they've even got to come standard fitted with cameras to read speed limit signs with the aim of slowing you down. And then there's the whole emissions reduction battle. The move to electric cars automatically bumps up the price of new cars right now due to the cost of the batteries. And unlike in some countries, the UK isn't really doing a whole lot to reduce that bill with incentives, unless you're a company car driver. If you run a car manufacturer, the chip crisis has actually been pretty good news. For years, the cutthroat competition among brands kept prices incredibly low, too low, really. We, the customer, reap the benefits. Back in the day, you could lease a brand new Golf R for £200 a month. Nowadays, no chance. That golden period is over. To me, it looks like when the chip shortage hit, car companies weren't crying, they were laughing all the way to the bank. And I'd actually be very surprised if they go back to the old days once the chip supply returns to normal sometime next year. There's going to be no more pumping out thousands and thousands of models that only sell once the dealer knocks off £5,000. Here's an interesting quote from Harold Wilhelm, Daimler's chief financial officer. He told the Financial Times, get this, we will consciously undersupply demand levels. In other words, they're going to stop the oversupply that kept prices artificially low. So you're not going to see tons and tons of brand new Mercs on the street anymore. We might be entering into an age where cars aren't white goods. Premium brands really are for the wealthy, and we all have to tighten our belts. High prices could be here to stay. But as always, Autotrader can help you find a car that's good value for you. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. Right, guys, I hope that you learned something new. I hope that you found it interesting. And if you did, then leave a comment down below if you have any questions. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.